angle as being the worst. Okay, so it could be more closed than 90 degrees, but if it's a 90-degree bend, that's probably a 3-tenth deduction. The same thing with the legs. And then height on saltos, we have up to 3. We increased that last year from up to 2 to up to 3. And so that's a lot. And so it is a separator, like Kristen said, we should be looking for the lack of height on the acrobatics that we see. The height of dance skills is up to 2, and we're looking for the center of gravity rising, their hips rising, and their leaps and jumps. Distance from their feet, from the beam, on those little beat jumps and things like that. Lack of split is up to 2. Remember, they have a requirement of the 180 leap, and if it's less than 135 degrees, then it doesn't count for that. So we would call it a straight jump with bad legs. So most of these girls, again, that we're looking at have that requirement, and they might have a minor deduction for lack of split. Alignment during dance, body position up to 1 during their elements, and then we have the foot deduction. And the flat feet or flex feet, when they're doing their jumps or their leaps, is a 0.5 on an element. Throughout the routine, we have an overall deduction for footwork, for posture, or let's just say when you put the little dots on your paper and you add them all up and you have several, then you should probably look at taking an additional deduction for body posture, footwork throughout the routine. You don't want to double deduct and take both, but a specific deduction is a flex foot on a leap. Walking on your flat feet on beam, doing those little pivot turns on flat feet, or very low without that amplitude is where you kind of keep track and then overall take something. And then rhythm throughout the routine is up to 2. And so that again would be different than the stops before they tumble. It would be that fluidity in the routine.
Kim, we just talked briefly about that too. How many of you would take the deduction on the scale and then take it overall throughout the whole routine if somebody was working a little flat-footed, or do you normally do that if you're already hitting the skill with the 0.05, also take it at the end of the routine?
Okay, so I think what we're going to do now is
only clarification on it. On the competitive level, it says that the flight series without connected bonuses perform, they need an additional fee.
Correct.
Now, so if she does the flip-flop layout, that is an additional fee.
No.
It's in a non-connected. So
that doesn't happen.
Another fee someplace else.
Right.
It has to be acro.
Has to be acro, and we assume it has to be acro flight. So,
yeah. Should you repeat the layout later on? Would it be the same D?
Yes, it could be. It doesn't say it has to be a different D. It could be the same one, and hopefully she has other variety in her routine as well. Okay, now. I don't know. That's for them to decide. That's a question. Meg and Mike back there. JO ruled that we could allow a connected bonus on beam for an A plus an E, like a walkover, a no-E type connection. But is it a flight series for college? Because it now is for JO. So maybe next year you want to put that on your agenda.
When did they do that?
In May. They are.
In general, we automatically go to it if JO, if it favors the athlete. So in that case, Debbie, no?
Our special requirements in our composition are written in whole.
Is that under special requirement or composition?
Special requirement.
Then no.
And no, you cannot this year, unless they change it. So an AE, if somebody goes back walk over a NODE as their flight series at college, it would not count because their special requirement requires 2 acro flights. And we did that because we felt like the NOE was a really super, neat to see that combination. So that was reported at JO for this coming season. Judy?
To beat this dead horse one more time, that question was pretty good. Can you do the layout a second time? You don't get a D for it the second time. Shouldn't it be a counting D?
I think so. Compositionally, it would be in the routine composed. You're just not going to get the D+1 for that.
Okay.
same D.
And that's their intention? It's okay if it doesn't count as an additional D? Well, you only get it the first time.
D, you just not gonna get the
Right, right. Okay.
So you get the D, you don't get the 10.
Right, the second time.
correct, for the second one.
It's hard to do a standing connection.
Skater layout would count, but not a standard.
All right, give us 1 minute, because we have to switch computers here. That we're just
It's about ready to give up the ghost. Yeah, it's showing everything.
Now you'll see it's slow-mo. Okay, just eyeballing that. Deduction-wise, that we're looking at applying there is obviously the wolf jump was lacking in horizontal leg position. And we're looking for a horizontal leg position for no deduction. So there would be a little deduction there, 0.5 to 1 maybe. Her legs on the sheep jump were at shoulder height, not head height. She did have the head release. You could have a little tempo there in between. Remember, we have a tempo deduction of up to 1 to take when the connection is slow but continuous, which is the definition. And she had some leg separation and her feet were kind of dangling. So what would you do to fix that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to see her explode more through her legs and her toes on the wolf jump. She's not pushing all the way through her legs or using her feet. And then same thing on the sheep jump. She's not exploding through her lower body at all and driving her legs hard back behind her while she's releasing the head and chest. So that needs to happen simultaneously, and she's not pushing through her legs nearly as well as she should, and her feet.
So that series, you could be looking at a, 3/10 deduction probably in there, and it could be even more depending on who is taking 0.5 or 1 or up to 2, but definitely deductible. Now we'll see the same series again in the next one, and we'll compare the two. Better than the first one?
Yes.
Smile.